What's up with the squad? Back with another video. I seen that title was going down. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please. Y'all see it right here. Definitely insane, when it comes to Gavin Newsom. It's definitely insane. Definitely crazy, just how these individuals are moving, within a lot because they know the trouble that they're in. And it's truly sad. Says Democratic presidential hopeful Gavin Newsom is on European television telling EU leaders to stand up to America and to fight back and to undermine U.S. security. Definitely crazy. I'm not gonna lie. The simple fact that he's doing this, I truly, I can't say that I don't understand because we clearly know. A lot of this has to do with a lot that's going on, within these individuals that has a lot to do with fraud and stuff. Truly.
Do you have a message for Europeans who are concerned about the messages from the White House around Greenland this week?
Yeah, it's time to buck up. It's time to get serious and stop being complicit. It's time to stand tall and firm, have a backbone. I've seen this in the United States, the supine Congress playing both sides, say one thing on a text or a tweet, another publicly.
It's time to have principle.
It's time to stand tall and strong.
Does that mean responding with tariffs?
It's time to stand united. You make that determination. I don't make that determination.
But when you say standing tall, what do you mean?
Just I can't take this complicity. People rolling over. I should have brought up a bunch of knee pads for all the world leaders. Handing out crowns and this is pathetic. Nobel Prizes that are being given away. It's just pathetic. And I hope people understand how pathetic they look on the world stage. At least from an American perspective, it's embarrassing.
So what should Europe be doing?
You should decide, the Europeans should decide for themselves what to do. But one thing they can't do is what they've been doing. And they've been playing. This guy is playing folks for fools. And it's embarrassing.
Europeans think this is diplomacy and this will...
Let me explain something to y'all. Who's going to look ridiculous, who's going to look like a fool when all this is all said and done is this individual right here, Gavin Newsom. And I say that because he knows that he's in trouble. He knows that individuals are seeing straight through him. You truly do. You truly do. Says here Gavin Newsom is proudly crapping all over President Trump and the United States of America on the world stage.
Called that a remarkable speech. You were obviously named by President Trump during that speech.
Yeah.
What was your reaction to what he had to say about you?
None. I think he said something very different last night. I didn't hear new scum. I heard new green scam. Come on. It was remarkably boring. It was remarkably insignificant. He was never going to invade Greenland. It was never real. So that was always a fade. And so he says, well, we should negotiate. Well, everybody here has been willing to negotiate for a year. So it had fire and fury signified absolutely nothing. Even by Trump standards, I was rather curious. And there was boorish parts of it, but those were not even that consequential, including name-checking people he likes, people he didn't like. So, honestly, I was a little disappointed. It was a little nonplussed.
One thing about it, it's definitely crazy that, he's doing this. Says right here he must never be allowed anywhere near the White House. And me personally, I truly feel the same way. I don't see how individuals even support people like him and what he's about and, what he does. You don't go somewhere else and, just bash and talk crazy, There's actually multiple individuals. I just got done talking about one of the individuals in my last video, Ilhan Omar. She's doing literally the same exact thing when it comes down to it. The same exact thing. She goes places and she just bashes the United States. Check it out right here. It's Fox News, Laura Ingraham and Steve Hilton.
Here to react is Steve Hilton, California gubernatorial candidate and an old friend. Steve, it is so great to see you. I got to get your take on Newsom over there. The knee pads, the Sparkle Beach Ken. Again, you can't get it on eBay, Steve. I tried to buy one today. They're all sold out. What is going on? This is the best you guys got over there in California.
I know. It's just incredible how bad he is, how bad at everything, how bad at governing, how bad at even trolling, which is all he was trying to do, running around Davos trying to make clever jokes about President Trump. And look at him, humiliated himself. He turned into a total joke. And the real serious point is he's over there. He wanted to make this big speech that was cancelled about how Gavin Newsom, represents economic success. And what a contrast, the economic model of California versus Donald Trump. I mean, he's delusional. Let's just look at the facts. No, we are highest poverty rate in America, highest unemployment rate in America. US News and World Report, 50th out of 50 states for opportunity. Wallet Hub, 50th out of 50 states for affordability. Chief Executive Magazine, worst business climate in America, California. He's destroyed this state, and all he's got are these totally lame gimmicks, but everyone's seeing through it, and he's just made a fool of himself. The only thing I can't decide is, I see him over there and think, well, come back here and do your job. And then I think, actually, when you are doing your job, it's such a disaster, maybe you should stay over there. Go see Venice next, or England.
Definitely. One thing about it, I've been, following up with a lot of, what Steve Hilton is about, and I like Steve Hilton. It's been a minute, since I've actually looked at, and seen a video of him. But one thing about it is that I love, the way that Steve Hilton, the way that he's doing things, the way, that what he's speaking about, definitely. People are literally, the first post, one of the first posts you see, clicking on his X account is, "We desperately need you as a governor. Steve, keep fighting." So truly. You right here, you got Stephen A. Smith on Gavin Newsom, on the things, that he's definitely, when it comes to, Switzerland, when it comes down to the homeless camps and the crime waves and, everything, about this Gavin Newsom. Check it out right here.
Gavin Newsom. Respectfully, what are you doing? You're the governor of the state of California in the United States of America. Why are you over in Davos, Switzerland, talking to folks and speaking negatively about the president of the United States? I have no problem with Gavin Newsom being candid and open about his feelings about our president on United States soil. To go over to another country, Switzerland, to go over there and to be in the presence of other European leaders speaking against the president of the United States. I'm not down with that. Y'all might be, I'm not down with that at all. Say whatever you want here as a governor from the opposite side of the aisle of a state in the United States on American soil, fine. But I'm one of those people, when we go somewhere else, it's America first.
Come on now.
Our problems, our problems. But we ain't taking dirty laundry outside.
Exactly.
You don't go on a world stage to disrespect your own house, which is the United States of America. I don't like that at all. Not even a little bit.
That's what people fail to realize. That's one thing that you don't do. That's just like going somewhere, you going out and you have, you having your problems, whatever you got going on at home. Whether if it's with, your kids, whether if it's with, something bad with your kids, with your wife, with your girlfriend, and you go out and you just bashing them. You talking crazy about them. You saying this. That's stuff that you don't do. That's stuff that you don't do. You go on a different country and you just talking crazy. That's not a good look. It's not a good look at all. And he talking about he wants to be president and no, that's not a good look at all. You got it here. It's definitely bad. You have it here, and I wanted to highlight this. California owes $1 billion, over $1 billion. $1 billion, y'all. Says here, California spent over over $1 billion on illegal health care just in federal money alone. Pretty cool.
Battle brewing in California. The Trump administration says the state owes the federal government more than $1 billion for health care given to illegal immigrants. William Lajeunesse has a story from L.A. Hi, William.
Well, Dana, there are two stories here, right? One is how rising costs have forced blue states to roll back health care for those without legal status. The other is the White House crackdown on eligibility. If states can't confirm those getting care are U.S. citizens, they have to pay the feds back.
We are auditing aggressively, and we don't like what we see.
In March, the Trump administration began auditing states that provide illegal immigrants with routine health care paid for by American taxpayers. Their findings? 7 states and the District of Columbia owe nearly $1.4 billion for using federal, not state money for immigrant care. Topping the list, California, followed by New York and Illinois.
In California, we've already identified about $1.3 billion spent to take care of illegal immigrants.
Under the law, states can only use federal money for migrants' emergency care.
When you come for elective hernia operations or dental cleaning, that's not going to be paid for by the federal taxpayer. It's not right. You don't want folks in one state paying for people in another state without them knowing about it and voting for it.
California says claims it did anything wrong are, quote, flatly false, saying the state routinely reimburses the feds.
Universal health care for all, regardless of pre-existing condition, regardless of the ability to pay, and regardless of your immigration status.
After extending care to its entire undocumented population, rising costs forced California to impose premiums and stop accepting new patients. Other states facing rollbacks? Colorado, Illinois, and Minnesota, either cutting subsidies or dropping adults altogether.
It was cruelty dressed as fiscal responsibility. There is no other outcome for when you take away people's health care.
Definitely insane, y'all. Definitely insane. So you have this going on. You have a lot of things that's going on, within California. It says Gavin Newsom, California, gave tens of millions in taxpayers' dollars to a contractor to shelter 600 plus homeless people. Turns out he's taking the money for himself. $23 million to be exact. Pretty crazy. You got a mansion, $125,000 Land Rover, a vacation home in Greece, multiple luxury vacations, designer clothes, private schools. Says LA's U.S. Attorney Office says 12 other similar cases are now under investigation. So you literally have this going on, and it's definitely insane that this is going on. I'm not gonna lie. And y'all see. I mean, this is truly. You sit there, and my thing is, you go somewhere and you bash. How are you gonna bash? You're bashing individuals for your mess ups, things that you obviously have caused. And that you're in. When it comes to fraud, when it comes to all this money, but then you go and you in a whole nother country and you know what I mean, and you talking crazy. You bash. That's crazy to me. Truly crazy.
This man was contracted with the city and county of Los Angeles to house and feed up to 600 homeless people, but instead he was misusing tens of millions of dollars to live a luxurious life. Exclusive Fox video shows the Fed's early morning bust here at the LA mansion. 42-year-old Alexander Suker was arrested. Suker's $125,000 Land Rover was also seized by law enforcement. The Fed say Suker defrauded the city and county of LA out of $23 million in taxpayer dollars for not only his mansion and car, but a second home in Greece, luxury vacations, designer clothes, and private schools.
He was living the high life, while the people suffering homeless on the streets with no shelter, no food, they're living out in the streets. People are literally dying. And this guy is out vacationing, buying homes, buying Range Rovers, and going shopping.
Prosecutors say Suker was supposed to provide 3 nutritional meals a day to the homeless, but during one inspection, Suker only had canned beans and ramen noodles on hand. The Feds say Suker lied about various aspects of abundant blessings, including fake vendors, facilities, and the homeless actually getting meals. The U.S. Attorney's Office in L.A. says they are actively investigating at least 12 other similar fraud cases here in California. First Assistant U.S. Attorney Bill Asaley says there's a tremendous amount of fraud in this state and that today's bust of one man who misused $23 million alone may show how little oversight there is.
California was pushing this money out quickly. A lot of money went out the door with frankly, very little vetting, very little checks and balances, and he's one of the individuals that got it.
Wow.
The suspect is scheduled to make his first appearance later today. He faces up to 20 years if convicted on a federal case. The local district attorney is also planning on prosecuting John.
It's insane to me, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely insane to me just even like thinking about like all of this money and like the money that's taken from, you know, taxpayers. Crazy. And Nick Shirley Nick Shirley just sent a shiver down the spine on every Democrat fraudster in America, particularly in California. One thing about it, you know, is I love the simple fact that Nick Shirley is on top of it. One thing that I always say is that I do, you know, pray, you know, that he is good, that he is safe, you know, when it comes down to it, because it is a lot that's going on. Truly a lot that's going on. Check it out.
Correct.
What makes you think that?
Well, now you're seeing, since I've posted that video, lots of other people have started to go to other locations, for instance, in Ohio or in Maine or in California. They're also seeing the similar fraud take place in other daycares, for instance, in a lot of other locations.
Yeah, I have a particular interest in California, being from that state, and we know that there's been a lot of fraud. There was $32.6 billion that's been confirmed in unemployment insurance fraud. There's 1.2 million fraudulent community college applications. Have you gotten any sense, or have you seen any signs there that sort of are similar to what aroused your suspicions in Minnesota?
Yeah, and fraud in California might be worse than the fraud in Minnesota.
What makes you say that?
Well, $24 billion went missing for homelessness. They've been trying to build this train for years, yet there's hardly anything to prove for that. Fires.
Yeah, those are good points. So you look at let's run through a couple of those. Because I mentioned the areas where we have confirmed fraud, but then you also have these areas where you have so much spending, and then we look at what results from that spending, and there's nothing. So $24 billion in homelessness, and yet the homeless population went up, and a state audit found that they couldn't even figure out where the money went or what the outcomes linked to that spending were. Is that something that is kind of a red flag for you?
Yeah, it's a major red flag, and you don't even have to be smart to be able to know that that's a red flag.
Well, unfortunately,
I truly feel like it's, you know, and a lot of this, I should say a lot of it, a lot of people are catching on, a lot of people are seeing. Like I tell anybody, I'm not trying to be a smart ass. I'm not trying to. A lot of this is common sense. A lot of this is common sense. I'm just glad Nick Shirley shed the light on it and did what he did, you know, to do what he, you know, to get out, you know, a lot of this information and, you know, have all these investigations going.
Legislators haven't managed to figure that out, or at least the governor hasn't. So what are you saying about him?
They're not smart. No, but yeah, I mean, it's so obvious, and that's what we saw in Minnesota is how complicit the government has been in enabling this fraud to happen. Quality Learning Center had over 90 violations, yet they continue to give that daycare $1.9 million.
I love it that he's still calling it Quality Learning Center. That's what it is, Quality Learning Center. But, you know, one thing about it, some people are saying we need 49 more Nicks. And that's truly, I love the simple fact that, you know, you have a lot of individuals, whether if it's you talking behind the screen or it's you in general, you know, just going out and actually being, you know, out and exposing and getting a lot of information. Regardless, you know, I love the simple fact that there's so many independent journalists. It's people that, you know, are doing a lot of podcasts, people that are literally putting out a lot of information, you know, so much. I definitely got to give, you know, and applaud them for the things that they're doing. Truly do. You got Laura Ingraham and Nick Shirley. It says here, you know, Ingram asks, you know, what you've discovered in Minnesota finally made people pay attention. So what are your plans to expose the fraud in California? Check out what Nick Shirley says.
What you've discovered in Minnesota finally made people pay attention. So what are your plans to expose fraud in California?
Well, I got to be a little secretive about that because you don't know. You'd be surprised to know how dangerous exposing fraud is. I never thought exposing fraud would become something so controversial. But yes, fraud will be exposed in California. It'll be exposed all across the United States because we're learning that there's so much fraud that's taking place, whether it be through daycares or these projects like that high-speed light rail that Newsom's been trying to build for years.
Are you surprised how easy it is? It's like taking candy from a baby, the federal government or state government, when you have these politicians and career bureaucrats who who really have no incentive to stop the fraud or actually have a political incentive to keep the gravy train rolling here?
Well, the only reason it could be so easy is because somebody has to be getting kickbacks. Because if anyone else was to give away $1 million to your next door neighbor or to some other rando, you'd want to know where that money is going. And so there has to be some sort of reason why they're allowing this fraud to happen. It's not just because it's some random NGO. Somebody has to be getting kickbacks.
Y'all see it? Y'all see it? It's definitely a wow. I'm not even gonna lie. It's definitely one of those wows, you know, because it's just so many things, you know, that you see when it comes down to it, with a lot that's going down. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot, you know. There's so much information that comes down and that you see each and every day that it just becomes like, dang, man, this is a lot of money. I mean, just thinking about it and just seeing how crazy things are and seeing how things move is definitely insane. I'm not gonna lie. Definitely insane. One thing about it, President Trump, you know, and I'm already knowing, you know, like I said, there's a lot of individuals that are, you know, pretty mad at the fact, you know, of what Gavin Newsom did. But it's truly showing, you know, as people are definitely going to pay attention. People are definitely going to see, you know, what he is. You know, as you know, it says right here, President Trump, Gavin Newsom, as a lame duck governor of a felony state, should not be at Davos running around screaming for attention, foreign leaders, and embarrassing our country. He made a mockery of himself and everybody, including his staff. Knows it. He should get the permit so that people could build their homes destroyed by the fire that he could have prevented if he would have allowed the water to flow from the Pacific Northwest. Literally, should have finished his over budget and behind schedule railroad from San Francisco to LA, one of the greatest public disasters in history, and focus on stopping crime in the streets of California cities. Then finish out his term and go home with a record like he's got. The nation of, you know, one of the most beautiful places on earth, where people are living in droves, and is unimaginable that he can run for president. But who knows? It's a very strange world, and it truly is. I mean, look what happened with Zohran Mamdani, and people are truly hating it. I'm telling y'all. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. Definitely appreciate every single last one of y'all. Truly do. Catch y'all next one.